Let me know when you're ready, Ken.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check testing 1 2. Check 1 2. Check testing 1 2. Check 1 2. Check.
Please say you will.
Did you try to listen to us last week?
I couldn't get it.
It didn't stream.
I couldn't get it.
It wasn't on. It wasn't on.
You're right.
It had an empty room. I mean, I don't know what happened.
I don't either. Let's do a commercial.
Alcom Storage.
We're good. Give a commercial. So we're on audition. Everything's audition. Audition. This is not go back to there. And then, okay.
Check. There we go.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
Like your local Allstate agent is worth it. Call an Atlanta area Allstate agent today. Corona. Find your beach with Corona. A turning
.08 ERA entering play tonight. The Braves with this 1-1 split of the series so far, now 28 and 36.
Like you're watching a replay of yourself on the stadium big screen, barehanding a foul ball, all without spilling a drop of your drink as the crowd goes wild. At OnUp.com, we can help you learn how to start building your financial confidence. Take control of your financial life today at OnUp.com from SunTrust. Confidence starts here. SunTrust Bank, member FDIC.
When you cool your home with an Infinity system, it's easy knowing.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check. Check 1 2.
Check 1 2. Yeah, we good.
Check 1 2. We got a reading on the board. Check.
Okay, as long as we.
Alcom Storage on Dick Beam Road in Cherryville is proud to be a sponsor of local high school and American Legion sports. We salute all of our local athletes on a job well done. And if you need storage space, see Alcom Storage. You'll find all sizes right for your storage needs. All units are lighted with security cameras and monthly extermination. Be sure to check our prices. Alcom Storage, located at 235 Dick Beam Road in Cherryville. Just call 704-435-8803 for Alcom Storage today.
There's only one place to go for expert auto and truck repair in this area, All Ray Tire at 140 Main Street, Cherryville. Soon to start another location across the street at 500 Main Street. Known for North Carolina inspections, brakes, oil changes, tires, and more, All Ray is soon to offer car and truck detailing and accessories for your car or truck. Open 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. Call 704-802-4048 to schedule your next oil change or brake service. All Ray Tire, Cherryville. proud supporters of local American Legion baseball and high school.
Plan now to attend this year's American Legion Baseball World Series, August 10th through the 15th at Veterans Field Keeter Stadium in Shelby. And this year's American Legion Baseball World Series will pay tribute to Team Burkeen and Psycho. General admission tickets for the entire series are just $35 and are now on sale. Find out more by going to the AmericanLegionWorldSeries.com. Again, that's AmericanLegionWorldSeries.com. August 10th through the 15th at Veterans Field Keeter Stadium in Shelby.
Welcome back to the Best in Sports. Tim Johnson and Ken Link on a Wednesday. WCSL 1590 AM. Hope you folks having a good time out there today. I'm Tim Johnson and Mr. Ken Link. Ken, good afternoon to you, buddy.
Afternoon. Glad to be back talking sports. A lot of sports going on in all different kinds of the sports world, and we'll be talking about some of it from the round ball of baseball, basketball. We'll talk a little bit of football. We may even mention a little bit of hockey.
Absolutely. You know, Ken, it's Father's Day week here at WCSL, and just to let the good folks know out there, we are on the internet as well, Facebook and YouTube, so you can check in with us every Wednesday, and that is from 4 to 5. And Ken, are you ready for Father's Day weekend?
I think so. You know, it's one of those days where the fathers actually get recognized a little bit. During the year, it seems like all the other holidays we don't get recognized that much.
We just get passed by, don't we, Ken?
That's right. That's right.
I'm sure Teresa's got a big day for you.
Well, we'll see.
I know my wife, she better have a big day for me. Yeah. So anyway, Ken, a little bit of baseball. How about the Power A State Games? We got some local young men from our area, from our high schools, who is competing in the Power A State Games, and we're talking about some of the players. Brett Urey from West Lincoln, Chad and Rhonda Urey's young man. He is a junior. He'll be a rising senior. He's from West Lincoln High School. Also, Lane Hoover, who is a Lincolnton product, Ken, and you know a little bit about Lane.
Yeah, he's a good ball player. Been a good player for that Lincoln team. Started as on that team as a freshman, and is now going into his senior year next year. And these games are for underclassmen, folks that are still in high school, and usually it's juniors, and they get chosen. They have to try out, and they get chosen, and then they play a series of games. I think there's 8 different squads that they make up from different parts of around the state, and they actually play, and they end up one of those squads will win the championship at the end of the play, which will be on the 18th, Father's Day.
And a lot of people don't realize how hard it is to make the Power A State game, Ken. Region 6 is probably the hardest one to make, and reason why, because you have a lot of the Charlotte schools, which is the 4A schools, and they have some really good talent there. So congratulations to Brett Urey, Lane Hoover, and Josh Haney. And I think Brett is the second player from West Lincoln school to make the Power A State games. Chandler Jenkins, who is going to East Carolina, he made it his senior year. My son tried out twice. He tried out actually his sophomore year and got a good looking, and then he came back his junior year, and that's when he tore his labrum, so he wasn't able to compete. But congratulations to Brett, to Lane Hoover. Also, Josh Haney, Ken, from South Lake Christian Academy.
Yeah, and there's some coaches going to help as far as being assistant coach on the Region 6 team, and Alan Chapman from West Lincoln, Michael Callsby from South Lake Christian, and Philip Russ from Bessemer City are assistant coaches for Region 6.
And speaking of Coach Russ, he's doing a heck of a job there at Bessemer City High School, Ken. He's turned that program around. Had a good season this year.
Yes, he did, and I remember when he played some ball for Post 100.
He did.
He's an excellent young man. I think he's coached some at West Lincoln football, and if you ever met him, he's an excellent young man, and he's working with Bessemer City there. These state games last year, Noah Aker from Cherville High School was a participant in those games, and I think the team he was on, the squad he was on, eventually won it last year. This is the 31st year that they've had the state game, so this has been going on for a while. I didn't realize it started reading about it 31st year they've done this.
Yeah, and they've got scouts from all over, from colleges and even professional scouts there too. So if you're capable of playing that type of baseball and going to the next level, the Powerade State Games is a great place to showcase your skills, Ken, in that regards.
Yeah, and so we'll be looking to see how that comes out this weekend. There may be a couple of guys on that team that will be missing some play from their American Legion teams because if they play in Legion ball, this would conflict a little bit with their schedule.
Any Cherville players going to the one?
No, they shouldn't be any. So this past weekend was a graduation for several of the counties around. I think Gaston County, Lincoln County. I'm not sure about Burns when they graduated, but with graduation this weekend and some of the guys taking off for maybe a grad week trip to the beach, the play in Legion ball has been a lighter as far as the schedule in the past few days.
It's been kind of, like you say, light, but it's been kind of like a hit and miss here lately too, Ken. We have a lot of some of the teams that wasn't able to play, like the Shelby teams and the RS Central teams, the kids from there because of the state championship, and plus, and now they're getting in full force. So I would think after the break, starting tonight, it's going to be wide open, Ken.
Yeah, it is going to be wide open.
A lot of baseball.
A lot of baseball. 1 or 2 games tonight, but this weekend you'll start up, and then when you get to next week, next Monday, or maybe even Sunday, games are going to start, and there's going to be a lot of ball games. There's going to be some doubleheaders that's going to have to be played, and you never know about the weather. If you get rained out, then it's going to make it even tighter. I know Shelby held off on their schedule till they got their Crest players, and they've only played 4 division games. Well, you play 16, so they got 12 they've got to get in
a hurry by
end of the month. They've got to be played by June 30th. That's the deadline that all the division games have to be played.
Well, how good is Shelby going to be this year?
Well, they're 3-1 in the division right now, in the Eastern Division, and I've checked in on them a couple times. They've had a couple of games on the KTC Broadcasting has had on the radio, and I've listened a little bit. And they've got they have a small roster. They keep talking about they got a short roster, but the chemistry is really good because you don't have many guys on it, and a lot of them are from Crest. But so far, I guess it went okay. But I think what's going to really be an impact whenever they get into having to play a lot of games and a lot of days, and the pitching. I mean, you can only pitch guys so much, and you got the pitch count, and I've got a feeling they may run out a little bit of pitching. We'll see. I know they got a couple good arms, but you got to have several arms nowadays.
If you had to guesstimate, Ken, just guesstimate, how many pitchers do you think that you would have to have on this team or on any team in American Legion because of the rules?
I think, Tim, you got to have it.
Now, you got to play every night, just about.
Yeah. You've got to have at least 8 to 10, in my opinion.
That's what I'm thinking.
You've got to have that
10.
many.
I'm like you, 8 to 10. I'm thinking 10.
And the more you have, the merrier. And the reason I say that, if you can have 1 or 2 guys go in and give you an inning here, 2 innings here, it really helps rather than having to try to get your main arms out there and do all the pitching, especially this year when there's pitch count and you cannot overuse these guys.
So, in other words, what you're saying is you have to manage your pitching probably as well as you've ever managed anything in a career when it comes to your coaching. Because if you don't manage your pitching right, it can come back and bite you. It can hurt you.
That's exactly right. And, of course, it's the most important thing. You want to do well in the regular season. You want to get a good seed going to playoffs. But once the playoff starts, it's the best 3 out of 5, and you play every day. There's no skip. Oh, there's no travel day in there.
No.
You play every day until that series is over.
Wow.
So if it goes 5 games, you'll play 5 straight days.
You'll play 5 straight games.
That's
so
what
you
it's
better
gonna be.
have, like you
got to
said,
have some pitching.
8 to 10 pitchers.
You got to have it.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Looking at the divisions and stuff like that, you got the Area 4 West division, which is Taylorsville, Cherryville, Caldwell County, Henderson County, Rutherford County, Asheville, and Burke County, Hickory. and of course Haywood, which they had dropped out. But you got Taylorville sitting at the top, Ken, undefeated, 7-0, 7-0 in conference.
Yeah, they have won all their conference games, and they played some early on. Cherville's only played 5 conference games, and no fault of their own. They had one that was rescheduled by Rutherford County when they was trying to get their RS Central guys in here, and it rained that night anyway, so even if they tried to play it, it would have been rained out. So they got a doubleheader they got to catch up there. Then they got to one game where they defeated Caldwell County, but Caldwell County protested, and the protest was held up, so you had to take that win off the ledger.
So that's a doubleheader right there.
That's a doubleheader. They're going to restart that game in the 5th inning with Cherville ahead 6-2
with runners on base.
Runners on base, and so that will be done on June the 27th when the home game for Cherville against Caldwell is scheduled. So what will happen was at 6 o'clock they'll pick up the game that will start in the 5th inning, and they'll finish that as a 9-inning ball game. And then when that finishes, they will play the second game, and it also will be a 9-inning ball game.
Got you.
And so they have those two that they sort of, wish we'd already got under the belt, but they're not. So they have to go back and play those.
Ken, looking at the division there on the west side, everybody, even down to Rutherford County with 2 losses, Ken, it's pretty tight. I mean, you got Cherville, you got Taylorville 7-0 and 5-0, but everybody else is 5-2, 3-2. So a couple losses, and you could have a first place tie all the way through the top, Ken.
Oh yeah, you got 5 teams there separated by two games. As far as there's only 2 in the loss column among 5 teams, with Taylorville and Cherville with nothing in the loss. So it could really change. I mean, as these teams start playing each other, these standings will change. And the way I look now, there's 4 or 5 teams that still have a shot at finishing first.
Now, remember the opening statement you said, Ken. I asked you, I said, Ken, how many pitchers do you think a team has to have in Legion? And you said 8 to 10. Well, at the top of these standings here, Ken, that's going to determine.
It will. And I don't know enough about all these teams to know about their pitching
what type
staffs.
of pitching they have, like Taylorsville or Caldwell County. But
I do know Cherville's got.
They're loaded in
10,
pitching. They got
maybe
a bunch
even
of pitching.
11.
Yeah.
Now, you got your main guys you want to use.
Right.
But you got to have some other guys to fill in some minutes.
So, in other words, you got your main guys for the playoffs, am I right?
Absolutely.
And then you got the other guys who can fill in during the season, who can give you innings to save your arms for the playoffs.
Exactly.
And save your arms for the big games like Taylorville, the Caldwell County, the Rutherford County, and the Henderson County. So you can depend on them to go out to win a ball game for you.
Absolutely. And let's talk a little bit about some big games coming up.
Yeah.
Post 100's got a game against Yorkville, South Carolina, tonight. It's the game that they, Bobadale don't like to go long stretches of several days without playing baseball. And so he scheduled York. They played last Friday night, and I understand York was undefeated. Cherville beat them.
They were.
And now they're going to play them again tonight. Friday night, they play. Cherville goes on the road. They play at Hickory. And then come next Monday, they got a big game at Taylorsville. Both of these teams are undefeated right now, so they got a big game at Taylorsville. And then Wednesday of next week, they got a doubleheader of Rutherford coming to play 2 games here at Cherville. So right there, the early next week, we'll find out some things about some games as they play 2 tough opponents.
Yeah, it was a pretty close game from what I've been told, Ken, against the York game. Back last Friday. I believe it was Friday when they played. I'm pretty sure it was because it was senior night. It was graduation night. And from my understanding, Ken, they turned it on like after the 4th inning.
Yeah, they were behind, I think,
3 to
1.
3 to nothing.
One time, and they came back and scored some runs. I think it was still like a 6th.
It was.
It was about a 6-4 game in the
it was close.
6th inning, and they scored a bunch of runs in the 7th, and then they scored one in the 9th. They ended up winning 10-4, but it was pretty close most of the way.
Well, they brought Matt Bumgarner in, and Matt, I think he pitched like 3 or 4 innings and pitched awfully well. And Matt had a great night at the plate as well too. So
yeah, I understand he He batted. He went to the plate 6 times, reached base 5 times. Had a couple of walks. Had 2 base hits. Drove in 4 or 5 runs.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Had a big night at the plate and pitched the last 3 innings.
Yeah, we want to thank Jeff Bumgarner for sending us text messages and stuff like that, when they have away games when we're not able to be there. But we're going to try to make all the games that we can. I know, Ken, you're at every Cherryville game, so any of you listeners out there, if you want to know who Ken Leak is, listening to him on the radio, all you got to go is down to the third base sideline right there where Bobby Dale is, right there where I call him the old-timer stand at right there against the fence. Ken's about 6'4", white-head as white can be, one of the nicest people you ever meet in your life. Going up to Ken and tell him, say, I've heard you on the radio. I've heard a lot of people say that.
Yeah, well, we'll talk a little bit of baseball. I love to stand over there and watch the game and enjoy being around the coaches and players. And
we got to mention some of the kids, too. Colton Strapp is having a great year in
he
Legion
is.
Ken. Burns product, playing at Burns High School. Colton is related to me. His dad, Banjo, his wife, Amanda, is my cousin. So Betsy and Phil, they're the grandparents. Like I said, that's my family. So Banjo, I know he's awfully proud of his son, Colton. Colton's having a great year. He's hitting in the 4 slot, playing first base, hitting the baseball. He even catch, too, a little bit
he's
behind
been
the plate.
catching some. We've had a little bit of an injury with one of our catchers. So
and that Walker kid.
Yeah, Wade Walker, he's from Burns, too. Both of these will be rising seniors next year. They're rising seniors. They just finished their junior year, and both of them are good players. In fact, Wade normally catches, but he also pitches, and he started and pitched 6 innings, got the win against York Friday night. So
I mean, you got people like the Bumgarner, you got Cowie, you know they're always going to play well. You know they're going to get the headlines. But you got like Wes Reynolds, Bobby Dale's nephew.
Playing well.
Playing real well. Hit his first home run the other night.
Yeah, hit his first home run and trotted around the bases like it wasn't a big deal, any big deal. And I noticed down the left field line there's some lady over there looked like she was doing cartwheels and jumping up and down and screaming.
That had to be his mom.
Was
it his girlfriend?
No, it was
That's his mom. Okay.
It's Wes's mom. He's a little bit embarrassed, I think. He was cool about it, but boy, she's going nuts. Yeah.
That's great to see parents like that, especially the moms.
Oh yeah. Something else is going on in Legion baseball this weekend, Tim. We've got the North-South Legion Challenge. Now, this is something that started, probably 10 or 12 years ago, where they pick invite 3 teams, North Carolina Legion teams, and 3 South Carolina Legion teams, and they alternate. One year they'll play at a South Carolina site, and next year they'll play at a North Carolina site. So this year, the North-South Legion Challenge will be in Sumter, South Carolina at Riley Park. It'll be over the weekend, starts Friday and ends Sunday. It'll be 16th, 17th, 18th. The North Carolina teams this year will be Rowan County, the defending state, Southeast region, and national runner-up in Legion Ball last year. Pitt County, who will be hosting, by the way, the state North Carolina State Legion tournament this year. And Wilmington, always a good Legion program. In South Carolina, you're going to have Sumter, Florence, and Chapin Newberry are the 3 teams. And so these are well-known teams. And what it is, the North Carolina teams play the South Carolina teams, a round robin, and that's what they do. So, a little bit of bragging rights depending on how the North Carolina teams do against South Carolina teams.
Right. So you got some good teams there,
Got some good teams. Cherryville's played in this several times back in the early days. They sort of got out of it whenever they was having a lot of conflicts with the timing of the tournament happening, when a lot of times the graduations were happening around there. Shelby's played in it in the past several years as well. So we'll see how it goes, and we'll report on that next week.
Sounds good, Ken. All righty, we're going to take a break here, and we're going to come back. We're going to finish up on the east side of the Area 4, which will be Union County and Lincoln County and the rest of the guys. We'll talk a little bit about that, and then we'll move on into some more sports here on The Best in Sports. It's Ken Link and Tim Johnson. We're here every Wednesday from 4 to 5. We'll be back after these fine commercials from our fine sponsors.
Beam Construction Company in Cherryville is now hiring. Right now, Beam Construction Company has job openings for carpenters and masons. Just apply at their office at 601 East Main Street in Cherryville. Since 1925, Beam Construction Company has been dedicated to building the future of the Piedmont regions of North and South Carolina, from schools to churches to town halls. For more information, call 704-435-3206 or visit the website at beamconstruction.com. Beam Construction Company, dedicated to building your future. From auto to home to business to life insurance, your hometown agent is Rocky Bennett at Bennett Insurance Group. Rocky has been serving this area for over 33 years, offering you the best in coverage with Erie Insurance. No matter your claim, Rocky will work side by side with you for your best coverage. See Rocky Bennett today at Bennett Insurance Group, 116 West Main Street in Cherryville. Call 704-435-0270 for Bennett Insurance in Cherryville. The RVer's most trusted resource for over 50 years. That's Campers Inn. Family owned and operated since 1966. And this area's dealer is Campers Inn in Kings Mountain. Campers Inn is the nation's largest family-operated RV dealership, 16 locations up and down the East Coast. From motorhomes to travel trailers and more, from the industry's leading manufacturers, plus award-winning RV sales and service. See hundreds of RVs for the best prices, plus they have certified and trained service personnel and a professional staff with years of RV knowledge. Campers Inn, Highway 161 South at I-85 in Kings Mountain. Tell them Calvin sent you in to the Campers Inn.
There you go, Ann. Your new account is now open. Just one more little thing.
Here's your card.
What was that?
It's my new bank. Every time I turn around, I get hit with another fee.
You need to get an account at Carolina Federal Credit Union.
She's right.
Tired of getting hit by bank fees? Switch to Carolina Federal Credit Union today. Make those pains go away.
Here's your receipt.
Ken Link and Tim Johnson back on the Best in Sports here in the studios of KTC Broadcasting. We've been talking some baseball. We've been talking some Legion baseball. We want to continue with that. We talked a little bit about the Western Division of Area 4, and now we want to talk a little bit more about the Eastern Division of Area 4. Union County, who won the Area 4 championship last year, is on top in the East with a 5-0 record. They haven't played any non-division games. They're 5-0. Gaston Braves are 7-1 with a 7-2 overall record. Mint Hill is 6-2 with a 7-3 overall record. And Shelby is right there with a 3-1 division record and a 4-1 overall record. Followed by Lincoln County at 5-2 in the division, 5-4 overall. Gaston Post 23, 4-3 in the division. Maiden 3-4. And Kings Mountain 3-7, and then Huntersville, who has dropped out, is 0-16. So Tim, we got about 4 or 5 teams right there at the top of the East, just like we have in the West, that are still fighting for that upper division.
You're right, Ken. And I tell you, I like Lincoln County. I like how Bruce Bullock is coaching his kids. He's doing a fine job, Coach Bullock is, with that young baseball team.
Yeah, and they seem to really be very competitive this year. Even the games they've lost, they've been right there. And so they look like they really having a good year this year so far.
A few weeks ago, myself and Evan was going to call the game between Lincoln County and Union County, and it got rained out. And I tell you, Ken, talking to Evan and to the folks down there at East Lincoln where they play their games at, they said they got a lot of pitching. They said some of the kids that are pitching the ball, throwing really good. I've seen in the paper where Easter is throwing the ball really good and playing good. He's hitting the baseball good.
I noticed he's been hitting the ball really well.
And also Lane Hoover. And I think McCrory from he's back now from the junior college where he played at. And he got a few other kids, too, is stepping up and playing really well for Lincoln County.
Yeah, and they're right in there. Like I say, the games coming up in the next week will determine a lot about how the shifting will be in the standings here.
Right.
But you got 4 or 5 teams that are right there.
And also, Ken, I also read in the paper where Lincoln County, they're having a pancake breakfast. I saw that, and I think it's Saturday morning, Ken. So to all our listeners out there in the Lincoln County area, they're having a pancake breakfast. The team, Coach Bullock now, is putting it on. I can't remember exactly. You can look in the Lincoln Herald and the Lincoln Times, and it'll tell you the destination. I'm not real sure. It's at some church, I know, and it's off, I think, Highway 16, Ken.
Okay. And the Legion games, I mean, we mentioned Shelby, who's only played 4 division games. They got a lot of games to play. And you can catch most of those games on 1390. KTC Broadcasting will have most of those games. Cherville Post 100, it will be on 1590. WCSL, a lot of the games will. I think the game tonight is on the radio. And I think the next game is, from what schedule I've got, will be radio game will be on the 23rd against Burke. But I think the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dates that they play, they'll be on the radio. So as they finish up, you'll have a great coverage on the radio for these teams, Shelby Post 82 and Cherville Post 100, if you can't make it to the games. Cherville finishes up. Their last game is scheduled now for 6/28, a doubleheader at Hendersonville. But as we said, if we have some rain and some weather events, then there may be some rescheduling. So, in Legion Ball, no schedules are in stone because it always been flux and
weather,
change.
Yeah, weather
so
permitting.
That's what it looks like now.
It's kind of like school, Ken.
Yeah.
Weather permitting.
In Area 3, I've been trying to find out a little bit of information what's going there. The last standings I saw for Area 3, Rowan County, and not surprised, they were undefeated. And leading the standings. So I look for them to have a strong team this year. They got good many players back from that team last year. I understand they had a tremendous amount of turnout as far as players. About 40-some players came out, so they'll have a good team as always. That's a great program there in Rowan County.
Yes, they do. And the head coach is from he's from Hickory, I think, or Newton. I think he is. And actually, Ken, he's the head coach at Catawba College.
Yes, and
he's from, I think, Newton.
Yeah, and here's the thing about a rule I'm not sure you're aware of. If you coach in college and a player is playing for you in college, he cannot play on your Legion team. You cannot coach him on the Legion team if you are his coach in college. That's a Legion rule.
Really?
Yes.
Huh. I wonder why.
I don't know, but that's a Legion rule. So if he's got a guy that qualifies to play on Rowan County, but he's at Catawba playing for him his freshman year, he cannot play for Rowan County.
That's interesting.
That's an interesting rule, but that is the rule.
College baseball, Ken. The World Series begins Saturday, June the 17th, which would be this Saturday coming up. In Omaha, Nebraska, you got Oregon State, Cal State, Fullerton, Louisville, Florida State, LSU, Florida, TCU, Texas A&M, and Florida beat Wake Forest. And, of course, you got an ACC team, two of them actually, Florida State and Louisville. And you have TCU. Was it Texas? Which one the Texas team beat Davidson, Ken?
Texas A&M.
Texas A&M.
No.
TCU?
No, Texas A&M was
Texas
one.
A&M,
Yeah,
okay.
Texas A&M defeated Davidson in 2 games, but, I mean,
congratulations to Dick Cook.
Congrats to Davidson and Dick Cook for making it into the Super Regionals.
Yeah. I mean,
you make it into the final 16 teams, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good baseball.
Pretty good.
There.
And
that's a good season.
And they, certainly can be congratulated for knocking off UNC, who was rated the second best team before the playoffs started. And guess what? They didn't get out of their own regional at the hands of Davidson.
Ken, me and you were talking the other day about Luke Heimlich, the left-handed ace pitcher from Oregon State. He did not play in the Super Regionals. Actually, he took himself off the team.
Yes.
Ken, he's reported as a registered sex offender prior to the report. He was ranked the 43rd best player, not the pitcher, but 43rd best player.
Best player, and that means
that's a second-round pick.
That would have been a second-round pick. Guess what, Tim? He wasn't picked in the first day on rounds 1 and 2. Yesterday was round 3 through 10, and guess what? He still has not been picked.
Well, I was listening to a little bit of ESPN, Ken, and they're thinking that he may not even get picked at all because of his background.
I'm thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the major league teams don't want that PR. I'm sorry. I mean, it's something that
he's going to get picked. I'm telling you, he's going to get drafted sometime, but it's not going to be. It's going to be at the bottom or maybe, I don't know, Ken. That's a tough situation.
We'll see whether he gets drafted at all.
I think he will, just because. I mean, he's not like you said. What's he throwing?
But he was their best. He was Oregon State's best pitcher. I saw he had 11-1 record, had an ERA under 1. So I mean, he's a lefty. He's a left-hand pitcher, and I understand he's a very, very good pitcher.
What's your take on that whole situation?
Well, here's the situation.
Before you get started, I want to know what your take is on the coach, Because I'm going to tell you what my take is on the coach of Oregon. And I thought about this. What's your take on the coach of Oregon?
Here's what the coach of Oregon State said. He said that he wasn't aware that he was a registered sex offender, and he is, it's not controversial. Something happened between when he was 15-year-old and a young kid, a 6-year-old family member, and he admitted to the crime. So
he did it twice. Is that right?
Understand there was 2 counts against him. One when she was 4 years old, and one when she was 6 years old. I understand as part of the plea bargain of him pleading guilty, the 1 count was dropped, but he was convicted of the other count. Went through counseling, but he has to register the rest of his life as a registered sex offender, and he did register in his teenage years. What had happened was the law, and he was from Washington State. That's where he grew up. So he was in Washington State. That's where he lived until he signed a scholarship to go play for Oregon State, moved to Oregon, and registered as you're required to do when he got to the state of Oregon. But he just recently came up on his 21st birthday. The laws in the state of Oregon require that you,
as an adult,
a few weeks or a few days before your 21st birthday, you have to re-register as a sex offender. He didn't do that. Obviously, he probably wasn't aware of the law. But what happened was, because he didn't do it, there was a citation written. Well, this reporter was just doing a story on him. They didn't know anything about this and ran across the record of the citation. And that's where then this was reported and it's all come out.
So, in other words, the reporter saw the citation probably in the background notes or whatever, right, and he said, "What's this for?" And he probably looked at it and saw where a registered sex offender, and he's sitting there saying, this kid is a sex offender. He has to register. That's why they took a citation to him, to make sure that he does register as a sex offender. If not, they're going to prosecute him.
Yeah, and he did register after he found out about it,
and
which, but
I can totally understand where the kid, when he was 18, he registered. He probably thought, hey, I'm adult, that's over and done with.
Yeah.
And that's understandable. And then he forgot about 21. But my thing is, Ken, here's my whole perspective of this whole thing. You're telling me that the college coach did not know this kid was a sex offender when he went. And let me put it to our listeners out there. I want you to think about this. I know a little bit about this. My son was recruited out of high school in baseball. My son, when he was recruited, the coach called numerous people. The head coach of the baseball team, talked to Alan Chapman. He talked to Bobby Dale Reynolds. He talked to other people. And there were several coaches. My son was recruited by several different divisions, junior colleges as well. And, Ken, when that happens, you're looking at the kid in the classroom, first of all. Can he maintain his grades?
Yes.
So if he can't maintain his grades, he can't stay on the baseball field. Also, what kind of kid is he outside of school? What kind of home life does he have? A little bit about the parents. So all that comes to a perspective, whether you're going to take your chance on that kid or not. So my whole perspective is, Ken, there is no way that coach, I'm telling you, I'm not an attorney, Ken's not an attorney, I'm telling you, there's no way that coach can tell me that he did not know about that kid, Ken.
Yeah, the coach claims he didn't know because he does not do any background checks on any of the players.
That's a red.
And to me, that's
hard.
A
red.
That's difficult for me to believe. You do zero background checks on the kids you are recruiting to come in and represent your university.
This is Oregon. This is Oregon State. This is a Nike,
a big baseball D1 program.
Yeah. I mean, they have big sponsors.
Yes.
I mean, the number one team in the nation.
Yeah, they've been ranked number one in the nation
pretty much all year
long.
And you're telling me that coach did not know that?
That's his
Ken,
claim.
I'm telling you, this is me. When that coach called, how did he find out about that kid? So he had to find out through somebody or another, a scout, whatever, and they called a high school coach.
Sure, yeah.
You can't tell me that the high school coach didn't know this, Ken. There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way.
And it's hard for me to believe that not only the coach should have known it, somebody in the administration should have known it.
I tell you something, Ken. Now, he was a juvenile when this happened.
Yes.
And that's private information. That is private information. There's a possibility that part of the plea bargain, but here's the thing. He's a registered sex offender as a juvenile. So does that mean when he turns adult, he's still
Yeah, he still is one. He still got a register.
Ken, how can you tell me that coach didn't know that?
I'm sorry. I'm not saying that there's people don't get second chances, don't deserve it. But when you're a registered sex offender, you are the rest of your life, and you have to register. And every time you move to a new location,
you have to let them know.
You, by law, have to let them know.
Right.
Have to register.
Right. Well, I hate that. I really hate that for the little girl.
Oh, absolutely.
And for the family.
Like somebody said, she's probably 11 years old now, scarred for the rest of her life. And, I love sports. I love to follow sports as everybody does. And I'm an avid fan of different sports teams. But I'm telling you, fans that go out there and don't understand how serious it is and try to take up for the kid, I don't understand that. I mean, are you really thinking of – what are you thinking about? Him or the victim, the little girl,
Ken, we're not here to hammer this young man.
No.
We are not here to do that on the show here. I just want to know how the coach – I would like to ask the coach, how did you not know? And when he told me, if I'm administrative and say the administrative did not know this, to me, if he came out and made that comment and say, hey, I didn't know that, to me, I got to find me another coach.
Yeah, there's something wrong with
ain't
that.
wrong. Any administrator, something is wrong with that statement to me.
I agree.
You have to know your players, the background, know what type of kids, where they come from, the parents. You gotta know. I'm not saying if a kid had a misdemeanor or if a kid had got in trouble, whatever. Listen, that's fine. Just know what you're dealing with.
Yeah, and here's the other thing that was amazing to me as I looked into the story a little bit. There are no rules, no NCAA rules that prohibit a felon, and this is a felony, a felon from being a student athlete at a university.
That's mind-boggling.
That's mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
And now there's some. I think the University of Indiana, they said was one school they knew that had a school rule, but after this had happened, I bet there'll be a lot of universities that will change to say let's not have any felons participate as student athletes.
Yeah. Well, we like I say.
I mean, I don't want to beat the story to death, but it is a story in sports. It should be talked about, and I wish Oregon State the best.
Absolutely.
Nothing against the team itself, but I'm like you. It's hard to believe there was no background checking that would have caught this.
And that's the whole purpose I want to talk. We had to bring this up. Another thing, Ken, Major League Baseball draft started last night.
Yes, it did.
And we had a product.
Well, it actually started Monday night.
Monday night. But there was a product from Whiteville that Cherville saw last year in the state championship and won the state championship. Mackenzie Gore, Ken, and you've been doing the homework on this gentleman from Whiteville, North Carolina. 41-2, Ken. That's phenomenal what you was telling me today. 0.35 ERA. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, he led. He's been pitching for Whiteville since he was a freshman. He has led them to 3 state championships, 1A state championships. And the one they didn't win was last year when the Cherville Ironman defeated Mackenzie Gore and the Whiteville team.
Wow. Is that one of his losses? Is that would you?
Well, they beat him, but I think he was behind when they took him out.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but they did defeat him. They did score some runs off of him. And going into that game last year, for the season, he had a ERA of zilch, 0.00.
Wow. I remember you telling me that.
He had not given up an earned run all year.
That's unbelievable.
Now, he's a left-hander, Tim. They say he throws between 92 and 95, 6'2", 170, so he's a pretty tall fella. They think that he will mature more physically. So the San Diego Padres grabbed him as the 3rd overall pick in the draft.
So they're thinking to put weight on him, to let the kid mature.
Stronger.
He's probably going to grow a little bit more. And see, a lot of people, when these baseball scouts and stuff like that, they make you take a medical background check. So what they do is, Ken, they want the medical background report looking about, hey, is this kid going to grow more? Is he going to get bigger? You know what I'm saying? They looked about putting weight on him. So that's a lot of things that I'm sure San Diego was looking at too. The 6th overall pick, Ken, North Carolina product, North Davidson High School.
That's amazing to me. When I was looking at the top 10, I said, whoa, there's number 3rd pick and then the 6th pick. 2 North Carolina high school players are thought that well
much.
That much
10.
by the major league teams.
Yeah.
Austin Beck was taken. He's an outfielder from North Davidson. That's in the Lexington area. he was taken by Oakland with the 6th overall pick.
And also, Ken, you was telling me earlier there was 2 players from North Carolina, University of North Carolina, drafted in the first round. J.B. Bukakis.
Yes, he's a pitcher. He was Carolina's best pitcher all year.
Koskis, I'm sorry.
Yep.
J.B. Koskis.
Yeah,
Koskis.
Koskis. He was 15th pick by the Astros. And Logan Warmoth, who's a shortstop on Carolina team, ended up being the 22nd pick and went to Toronto. Tim, we was talking a little bit about the first-round picks and the bonuses they get.
Yeah.
They have sort of a relatively set bonus, and the Mackenzie Gore will get around $6.6 million signing bonus. And I was looking at some of these. In round 1, the number 1 pick got around $7.7 million, and in round 1, you go down to the bottom of round 1, the last guy gets about $2.2 million. First 10 picks get pretty big money. Round 2, you got $1.8 million to $800,000. Round 3, you got $755,000 to $500,000. So it starts dropping off. Tim, they finished round 10 last night. In round 10, you're around $131,000 to $137,000.
Wow.
So when you get to round 10, you're not getting the big bonus money. And of course, rounds 11 through 40 will be picked tonight. I mean, what started, I think, 1 o'clock today. They were finished today, and they're not going to get big bonuses.
Well, I'll take that round 10 money, Ken. Would you?
I would, but some of these kids are good enough. They've already been recruited and committed to go to colleges. Of course, they'll jump right out of that commitment if they get the big-time bonus money.
Yeah. Hey, congratulations to Mackenzie Gore and, of course, to Austin Beck, too, getting drafted this year in the first round. All righty, this is Tim Johnson and Ken Link. We are the best in sports every Wednesday from 4 to 5 on WCSL 1590, also on YouTube and the Wash Up Shopper, and, of course, on podcast, too, Ken. So, we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be back with some more Major League Baseball and the NBA playoffs coming up after these commercials from our fine sponsors.
For excellence in funeral and cremation services, talk with Carpenter Porter Funeral and Cremation Services in Cherryville, promoting the highest ethical and professional standards while maintaining cost-effective service. Call 704-435-6711 or come and talk with funeral directors John Porter and Hannah Garrett, offering you guidance during one of life's most difficult times. Carpenter Porter Funeral and Cremation Service, 1100 East Main Street in Cherryville, a member of the National and North Carolina Funeral Directors Associations. 20% off. How would you like to take 20% off MSRP on a brand new Ford? Well, you can at the all-new classic Ford Lincoln in Shelby. Come in now and take 20% off the Ford Escape, the Ford Focus, and the Ford F-150 2.7 XLT. That's right, 20% off. That's huge savings. And remember the $1,000 hero discount for veterans, first responders, police, and fire officials. And be sure to check with your employer and save more with Ford's X-Plan. And now Classic Ford Lincoln has their Guaranteed Credit Approval Program now in place. Classic Ford Lincoln, 1775 East Dixon Boulevard, Shelby. Online at classicfordofshelby.com.
The prices on shingles are dropping at College Building Supplies in Dallas. Pick up this week's What's Up Shopper for all the pricing. 3-tab roofing shingles, $35 a square or $11.67 a bundle. Architect laminate shingles, only $45 a square or just $15 a bundle. See Tracy Lyles today at College Building Supply, Highway 321 across from Gaston College. Call 704-922-8649. Open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. till 4:30 p.m.
Head to Renato Cadillac Buick GMC in Shelby for some great deals during their summer kickoff sales event. Take 17% off the new 2017 Buick LaCrosse Essence. Get 0% financing for 72 months on all 2017 GMC Yukon XL Denali's. And if you're not a GM vehicle owner, come in and get a $2,000 allowance toward the purchase of a new 2017 Cadillac CT6. Save big now during the summer kickoff sales event. Renato Cadillac Buick GMC, 4423 East Dixon Boulevard, Shelby.
Welcome back to the best in sports. It's Tim Johnson and Ken Link. We're here, like I said, every Wednesday from 4 to 5. American Legion baseball tonight up at Cherryville. So you can go up there and see Post 100 play tonight. They're taking on York, South Carolina. They played them last Friday. And Came home with a win. Also, Ken, want to talk about a restaurant that I eat at yesterday, Ken. Me and my wife went out and eat some pizza, and we stopped in Cherville. I told her, I said, let's go to Cherville, that Papa's Pizza, located in Cherville there on the back street. Great food, Ken. I tell you, I was amazed how good their pizza was. They had a buffet of pizza. They got a buffet, and the buffet's like all day long, and it's all you can eat. It's like $6, Ken, and 89 cents for all the pizza, all the salad, dessert, everything, sweet tea. You can't believe it. I mean, it's unbelievable, man.
Holy cow. I'll tell you one thing, Tim.
I know.
If I stop there, I'm afraid they're going to go in the hole because, man, I love that buffet stuff, and I can put some away.
And it's a family-owned business, too. I think Lisa, and I can't remember the father's name, but I didn't get to meet the owners, but I met the owner's daughter, who's the manager there at the nighttime. And so anyway, great. Listen, if you like great pizza, that's a great place to go. And also, speaking of pizza, House of Pizza in Lincoln, Ken, is going to be one of our main sponsors this year for the Lincoln County High School Football Show. So we are excited to have them be a part of our show, Ken, and we're going to eat there a lot.
Oh yeah, I like House of Pizza. Everything I've ever eaten there has been good. And
yeah,
I love their sweet tea.
Marianne and the girls are good people there. All right, Kenny, we got some Major League Baseball, some American League East. The Yankees lead the Red Sox by 3 games now.
Yep.
I think it was, 2 games last week?
Well, there's 2 games over somebody else last week, but those Yankees are slugging.
That Judge guy, man, he hit a 496-foot home run?
Yes, and then Tim hit another home run that to me is almost impressive. It didn't get probably 12 feet off the ground. A line shot over second baseman's head into the right field stands.
What's he doing, Ken?
This guy is 6'8", about 280 something.
Wow.
And
he's a giant.
He's a giant. And Tim,
does he play first base?
Yes. No, he's playing outfield. He's an outfielder.
He's got to be playing left field.
He's playing outfield a lot. So this guy, he's got a good approach at the plate. He don't swing at bad pitches. Now, he came up the end of the year last year and struggled, striking out, chasing bad pitches.
Well, something happened this year.
Somehow he's got the approach down, and he is right now. I mean, if the season ended now, he's not only the most valuable player, he'll win the Triple Crown. That's how well he's playing.
That's unbelievable. How many years has he been in the pros, Ken?
Well, this is just he came up the end of last year as a rookie, so this is his first
real year.
Yeah, first full year.
How about in the minors? Where's he from? Do you know much about him?
I'm not sure where he's from, but he did well in the minors, but he didn't do this well.
Wow.
Some guys are like that. They get to the majors and it just clicks. I don't
know. Yeah.
I mean, you know how baseball is.
It's funny.
You never know. I mean, you see guys go into slumps, and all of a sudden you get people get hot. It's like the ball looks like a balloon, and you can't get them out.
And speaking of hot, the American League West, the Astros lead Rangers and the Angels by 11 games, and you got the Central. The Twins lead my Indians, who I predicted to win the World Series, by 2 games. So we got
the Indians are hanging around.
They are,
but they ain't running away. They just hanging around there. You know,
the Twins they're pretty good this year. They say
the Twins are good, and they got a third baseman who's from Cuba. He got named
can play.
Cano, hit guy.
He can play.
He's broke out and he can play, and he's hitting a lot of home runs for him. In the National League, the East, the Nationals lead the Braves lead the Mets by 9.5 games. The Braves have dropped back
in 4th place now.
11 games back. Now, Tim, I'm going to tell you about these Nationals. They got good starting pitching, and they got good hitting. But I'm going to tell you something.
They're going to have to do it in the playoffs.
Their bullpen is a mess.
Really?
They've used several closers. They can't get anybody to close the deal in the 9th inning. They've tried everybody, and they are struggling. Now, I look for them to make some kind of trade for their bullpen because they're going to need it once they get to the playoffs.
So you got the Rockies and Dodgers. They lead the Diamondbacks by half a game, so that's a tight race there, Kenny.
Yeah, and all 3 of those clubs are playing well. I looked at them, I think all 3 of them have won 7 out of the last 10. Now, eventually they got to play each other, but right now all 3 are playing well.
So the Cubbies are coming on. They're 1 game back, it looks like, to the Brewers.
Yeah, Brewers. So they're right there. They'll get it going here. They'll get it figured out and get it going here as the summer gets hot, I think.
And speaking of the Brewers in Milwaukee, they're in Wisconsin, we have the Aaron Hills, Ken, the U.S. Open this weekend. That is the Aaron Hills. And there's something I want to tell you, Ken, that I found out last night at work. I was talking to a good buddy of mine. Phil Mickelson's daughter, you may have heard this or not, but Phil Mickelson's daughter is graduating this year. He told him, he said, I may or may not be at the U.S. Open because I'm not going to miss my daughter's.
I heard that.
Yeah, and I take my hat off to Phil Mickelson.
Oh, sure, I do too.
Absolutely. There's only one graduation, whether you go to college or not.
And he's only got one daughter.
He's got one daughter.
That's graduating. That's so
right.
you got to take care of that.
And that's really, to me, that tells what type of person Phil Mickelson. He's a family man, and there's no doubt about that. But J.T. Poston is playing in the U.S. Open. He's a Hickory High School product. Graduated in 2011. Also in 2015 went to Western Carolina, the Catamounts. He is ranked like 99th in the FedEx Cup points. And also, Ken, he played last weekend, but he didn't make the cut last weekend. But he is playing in the U.S. Open, so he will try to make the final round, which is Saturday and Sunday, but he's got to make the cut on Friday.
Well, that's great news. I understand he's having a good year this year.
He is.
A Hickory High School product.
We're pulling for him.
Local guy doing well on the PGA.
Yeah, and a good buddy of mine at work, he's good friends with him, played with him in high school in golf, and he said, this kid can hit it. He said he can grip it and rip it. So, also, Ken, the Golden State Warriors are the NBA champions.
Yeah, they are. I watched. I think I watched all those games, a good part of them, and the last couple I probably watched the whole games. And the one game, the fourth game that Cleveland won in Cleveland, they shot the lights out from 3 points. They had like 25, 26 3-pointers.
And what did you say last week? You got to keep it in the 90s to win, and they go out.
They can't do it, And I'll mention some good players for Cleveland. Obviously, LeBron James is a great player.
Absolutely.
But Kyrie Irving's great. He was hitting some. And then J.R. Smith, that last game, despite the fact they lost, he was throwing them in 3-point range off balance like he couldn't miss. But guess what? All that still wasn't enough to beat Golden State. Golden State with Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, have got too many weapons.
Draymond Green and that Klay Thompson, they got some players. But they are not the greatest team of all time. The Lakers would have beat them, and I'm going to tell you, Ken, my Chicago Bulls would have beat them too. Dennis Rodman, Harper, and Michael Jordan would have shut them down.
Well, here's the thing about Jordan, and there's a lot of talk about LeBron versus Jordan and that kind of thing. One thing I saw LeBron, he's a great player. He's
does
definitely
a lot of
top
things. 3 of the greatest players
but
of all time.
How many times, Tim, have you seen Michael Jordan drive, get into the lane at the basket, and pass it to somebody else in the corner for a 3-pointer?
He ain't going to do that.
No, he's going to finish it.
Yeah, he's going to finish it.
He's going to finish.
Yeah.
And LeBron is so good at finishing when he gets there because of his strength. There's times I'd say, LeBron, won't you go ahead and finish it rather than dishing it to the corner? But,
Yeah. Michael, listen, I'm going to tell you a story, and this is a true story, and I know a lot of our listeners out there know this. When Michael and them were playing against the Knicks, I think it was in the 90s, whenever it was, in the playoffs, I'll never forget this. The announcer asked Michael after the game, he said, what did you say to the coach to the Knicks? He said, I went and told him, I said, it's the fourth quarter. That means you got to beat me now.
And that was true.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's fourth quarter is my time now.
And he on the Bulls team, he played that way. He would try to get everybody else involved. But when it come down to
they play 3 quarters.
Yeah, when it comes down to the fourth quarter, Michael's like, hey, I'll take care of things now, boys. Yeah. And he did.
Yeah,
he did. There'll be another player like Michael Jordan. And I'll sit here and say James is a great player. He is not a better player than Michael Jordan. And when his career finished, he won't be considered a better player than Michael Jordan.
He just needs to concentrate on himself and what he can do to, instead of trying to, he says he's chasing the ghost of Michael Jordan. Listen, Ken.
He needs to be the best LeBron James.
Absolutely.
Which is pretty doggone good.
Yeah, top 3 of the greatest players of all time. I think I'd still say Magic is the number 2, Michael 1, Magic 2. I say LeBron 3, but no doubt. I mean, he's without a doubt one of the greatest of all time.
But congratulations to Golden State
Absolutely.
Warriors, second title for Steph Curry, I'm happy for him. He had a good game, a nice game. He had 34 points and 10 assists, and, of course, 39 points for Kevin Durant, who got the MVP and obviously deserved it. He was great the whole series.
NASCAR Ken Ryan Blaney gets his first NASCAR Cup win, beating Kevin Harvick at Pocono last week.
Yeah, these young guys are coming along.
I'm
telling you what, NASCAR is okay, I think, with all the young guys coming up.
You get the point standings. Martin Truex Jr. leads by 1 point over Kyle Larson, and then you got Kevin Harvick in third. But, still the man in NASCAR is Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
No doubt, Jimmy Johnson.
And whenever they get ready for the last 10 races, that point championship, I still think Jimmy Johnson is the man to beat. I mean, that's just the way it is.
NFL news.
Talk just a little bit about the Panthers. They've been in news last couple of days. Michael Orr, the blindside guy, the left tackle, who was missed 3/4 of the season last year with concussion, is still not cleared the concussion protocol. And then on Instagram this past Friday, he posted something that said he had a picture of eight pill bottles, and it said, "All for my brain."
Wow.
Now, I don't know why
he's not going to be playing football very much longer, Ken.
That was quickly taken off, but it was seen and reported. And
that's not good, Ken.
I think he's still having a lot of physical problems. He hasn't showed up, at all to the Panthers. He came in this week to meet with the doctors. Tim, this is what I think is going on. He is not going to be ready to play. He's still having problems. But he's not going to retire, because if he retires, he won't get paid. I think the contract he's got, they've probably got a guarantee in it against injury. So this year, I expect him that you can't do an injury settlement if a guy's guaranteed against injury in his contract. So I think eventually he'll be put on injured reserve and be paid by the Panthers, but I don't think he'll see the playing field this year. That's just my opinion.
What's sad to hear about his concussion, stuff like that, and the pill bottle, stuff like that.
Yeah,
so that was on Instagram, Ken?
It's Instagram, and it's just like, why did he do that? It's just like, I don't know that. I don't know whether he pulled it off or his agent said get that off of there or what, but that wasn't very smart.
Well, one thing, Ken, about your boy Ryan Switzer, who's with my Cowboys, I'm just going to let you know, Ken.
How's that going down there?
He's a player, okay? You know what I'm saying? Let me tell you something, Ken. He's a player. He's with the first team. And listen, I can imagine seeing Terrence Williams, Dez Bryant on the corners on the outside, and you got Cole Beasley and Ryan Switzer in the slot with Ezekiel in the back. He's a player, Ken. That's all I'm going to say. He's a player.
He is a player. He's a playmaker. I've watched him at UNC. He is a playmaker.
Hey, I'm going to tell you right now, we may have the best offense that Dallas has ever had. Yeah. Ever had. I'm talking about the 90s.
Yeah.
And we were pretty good in the 90s.
You got some weapons. Only question,
question
about the Dallas is, can you get that defense a little better than last year?
I think so.
If you can did there, then you got something.
Ken. I think our Cowboys defense is going to they were, I think, in the top 5, something like that, top 10, top 5. They ended up, I think, at the end of the season having the best rushing defense in football at the end of the season. I think they were number 1. I think now. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think so. I think they're going to rotate. Marinelli, who likes to rotate a lot of kids, a lot of players on the defensive line. I think we're going to be okay. And I'm Vegas is saying it's going to be a Cowboys and Patriots Super Bowl. That's why. And Patriots, well, here's the thing. Vegas ain't going to lose their money.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think about that. They're in the business of making money. So you sort of have to pay attention to the odds that they lay out there. They're not in the business of losing money. Let's put it that way.
Well, they didn't say the Panthers. They said the Cowboys and the Patriots.
I understand that. I understand. It's the other P team. I got it. But I'm looking for the Panthers to bounce back. One problem the Panthers have had, they're their number 1 draft pick, their 8th pick overall. Chris McCaffrey has not been able to participate in any of the.
Are you serious?
Any of the stuff because of the NFL's rule that if you are from a school that's on the quarter system and that quarter is not yet finished, you can't participate physically, even though he is not signed up in the quarter for any class.
So he hasn't been on the football field
been
at
on
all.
the field at all
For any kind of mini camp or any kind of OTAs or
no,
anything.
The mini camp.
I'm shocked. I didn't know that.
Tuesday, today, and tomorrow he'll be on there because that's the first day he can be there, which is sort of bad. But that rule needs to be changed. Now, I can understand if a guy is in class, he didn't even register for this quarter, but yet they still would not let him participate.
So was he a junior?
He was a junior.
So he's dropping out of school, basically.
Yeah, he didn't register for the quarter.
I got you.
So, I mean, what difference is he's not even in school?
Let me take it back. He's maybe not dropping out. He's just probably going to get his education in the offseason.
Yeah.
A lot of the professional players do that, Ken.
And after he was drafted,
Absolutely.
he didn't sign up for the next quarter. I mean,
Right.
he didn't do that. So he's not in even school, but they said because his class is still in the quarter, he cannot participate. That rule needs to be changed because that's a little bit crazy.
That don't make sense.
Doesn't make any sense.
UNC basketball gets a graduate transfer player from University of Pittsburgh. So Cameron Johnson is definitely going to Carolina now?
Yes.
6'8" guard, small forward?
Yeah, Pittsburgh was trying to fight that, but they gave up that fight.
How about that?
And I tell you what, this is a great addition for the Tar Heels because they needed another tall perimeter player after losing Justin Jackson. They didn't have one. So now this guy, Tim, he averaged almost 12 points a game, 4.5 rebounds, and was 5th in the ACC in three-point shooting.
Wow.
So he's he's got 2 years left of eligibility.
That's pretty good, Kenny.
Yeah, because he got his graduate degree in 3 years, but one of those was a medical red shirt. So he got 2 years of eligibility on the basketball court.
So he can play 2 years of Carolina
2
then.
years of Carolina.
This year and next year.
This year.
Well, they got a player. And he'll do real fine with Luke May. That's the same size as Luke. Luke and him's about the same size.
You got him and May, and then you got
Luke can shoot.
You got Pinson. Like I say, you can put a lot of guys out there that can shoot. Play a small team if you wanted to.
Well, that's great. All righty, Ken. That's the best in sports here on WCSL 1590 each and every Wednesday. Ken Link, Mr. Baseball himself, Tim Johnson. You guys everybody out there have a great Father's Day. Ken, you have a great Father's Day.
I will, and I wish everybody a great Father's Day, and we appreciate you listening and enjoyed talking about sports today.
All righty, we'll see you next Wednesday on WCSL 1590. You can catch us on YouTube and Facebook every Wednesday.